All right, welcome back, everyone. It's time again to learn something new, which is why I am so glad to be joined by Angela Ardolino, plant and mushroom medicine champion and educator extraordinaire. So Angela has been a holistic pet expert for over 20 years and the founder of CBD Dog Health. They make all natural cannabis and hemp products specifically for pets. Now, today we're talking all about CBD for pets, which is a topic that is close to my heart. I've seen and experienced the power of CBD to replace many pharmaceuticals and medications, and I think it deserves a place in every single medicine cabinet. So, Angela, welcome. I'm so excited to learn more today and so glad that you're here.
Thank you for having me, and I'm so excited to talk to someone who already understands how powerful this all-natural plant medicine is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a mainstay in my medicine cabinet and my pet's medicine cabinet for years. And
how'd you discover it?
There's a whole story behind that, I think, but it's a pretty short story. I was dealing with some very severe inflammation and ibuprofen wasn't touching it. And I was running pet stores at the time. So I had plenty of CBD companies coming in and telling me about it. And so I decided, let's give it a try. And wow, it really, really helped with that really severe inflammation. And so that's what got me interested in learning more and more about it.
I love it. I love that you had a good experience, because for so many, the first product they try is not a full spectrum product. It's not made right. It's not grown right. It's not extracted right. So they're like, this didn't do anything for me. It's terrible. So right. I'm glad that you had such a good experience, because a lot of times it's not the case, because it's completely unregulated. And anybody could put anything in a bottle and call it whatever they want. And unfortunately, a lot of people, let's see, back in 2018, when that farm bill was going to make it hemp legal, a lot of people got into the market that just were out to make a quick buck. The good thing is most of them are gone. We got a few that pop up or change their names or whatever, but you can't deny a full spectrum hemp extract that's extracted and grown correctly and preserved correctly. It is magical. And I discovered it probably the same way you did, which is inflammation, and diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis and couldn't find anything. I wasn't about to take the drugs that were prescribed to me. They've already been linked to lymphoma. They literally cause lymphoma. And I'm like, no, thank you. Let me go find that natural medicine that exists already, and let me try that. And I'll never forget the first time I put a tincture in my mouth. And same thing, I was like, literally feel everything disappear. And I'm like, this is the most incredible thing I've ever tried. I literally was like, sold my business and threw myself into the industry to find out, why was this being kept from us? Why is this so villainized? Why is it, why are we brainwashed to think that it's, just about recreational and peace, love, and happiness, and that it's not the most legitimate medicine on earth? I think the biggest thing that made me go, is when I found that patent by the United States government for cannabis, cannabinoids as neuroprotectants and antioxidants. I was like, oh, okay, follow the money. Let's follow the money.
Right.
So, yep.
So you answered my first question. What I always love to start off with is what brought you into this. And I think that's a really cool story, that you discovered this magic and you said, this is what I'm doing now. This is it. And it just changed your life. Yeah, that's incredible.
It did. I mean, I threw myself into the industry. I sold my business. I had no idea where I would end up, but my business that I had was literally like I was a magazine, a print and digital magazine website resource for natural living for your family. Okay. So even then, when I discovered it for myself, I was like, okay, let me go find and see how other people are using this medicine. And I was in Florida, where it wasn't really legal yet. Right. So I became an advocate to help get medical marijuana legal in Florida, which it is now and has been since 2018. But I met an incredible group of mothers who were using cannabis as medicine on their children and getting rid of cancer and stopping their seizures. Wow. And I mean, I became friends with a lot of them, and I always tell the story about my friend's child, Bruno, who literally would be having a conversation with me and go into a seizure, and she would open her purse and take out that same tincture that I'm taking and give it to him. And I'd watch within 20 seconds him going from full-blown seizure to sitting up and talking to me again. And I'm like, you can't deny this. How is this being kept from us? It's inhumane to be kept from us. Yeah. So it really became my driving force. I didn't know. At first, I thought I was going to be a cultivator because I couldn't find anybody growing medicine. You know, if we wanted to do the same thing every time, we should have it in the same conditions. I wanted less people touching it. But I've always been an animal lover. I also owned shops, very busy stores, and I had an animal rescue. So I was basically traveling around learning everything I possibly could about the medicine, watching how to grow it right, how to extract it right, how do you make a human grade medicine. And then in 2016, I got invited to the inaugural class at the University of Vermont School of Medicine for the study of medical cannabis for its therapeutic uses, its biology, how to do all those things I wanted to learn how to do. So that is where I learned about the endocannabinoid system, and I learned that animals have the endocannabinoid system, and that's when I was like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to become the expert in all things animals and cannabis. And it made so much more sense actually in animals than it does in humans, like how it is just part of survival. How do animals bring themselves back to homeostasis is because they know how these plants, you know, and herbs and mushrooms work in nature, and they consume them and eat their medicine.
Right. They go seek them out. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not foreign to them. It's just foreign to us. But the first thing I discovered is that I couldn't find anybody making things specific for pets. And if I did, they were just taking a human product and slapping a paw label on it, and they'd have bacon and cheese flavoring. Well, we don't need synthetic cheese and bacon flavor in a medicine. Or worse, they'd have xylitol in them, which will literally kill a dog. So I would be quite the drama queen at a cannabis conference, yelling at people at their booths going, you can't sell this product to dogs, you know, type of thing. But that's what I learned. All right, well, I can't find anybody making a good product for pets. So that's what I decided to do. And I knew a lot about specific adaptogens. I partnered with a chemist who manufactured Aveda's products and literally broke up with them when they went from 100% natural to 98% natural. So he was my kind of guy. Yeah. He had a daughter that was a holistic veterinarian, and the three of us got together and just created the most synergistic adaptogenic formulas we could create. There were actually some incredible herbs that I didn't include because I knew I had to teach people already about CBD, adaptogens, and all these things. So I didn't want to make it too complicated.
Right. We're not ready for this. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But now that they know, I'm like, all right, I'm bringing on the nootropics. I'm bringing on the shilajit. I'm bringing on all these amazing adaptogens that work so well for humans and for animals because they're all natural.
Yeah. No, that's super cool. And I can't wait to see what kind of things you guys roll out with. But let's get brass tacks. Let's start at the beginning. What is CBD? What does it do for dogs and cats?
Well, CBD is a cannabinoid found in the hemp plant. It is one of the two major cannabinoids found in a full spectrum hemp extract. A full spectrum hemp extract is what we actually want, and CBD has become the nickname for it. And the reason why I think that's important is because CBD as an isolate is a dangerous drug. It has already been proven to cause liver damage. It does not do the same thing, will not do any of the things that I'm telling you about today, or that has been proven in research. We actually don't have any research on isolates yet that show them to act better or do an action without the help of the thousands of other compounds in that hemp flower. They have to. Like, for instance, a broad spectrum product, which is the next step up from an isolate, is a product that they have tried to remove the THC. Well, THC is the second most important. Actually, I think it is one of the most important compounds. I can't decide who's more important, but they both need each other. CBD doesn't even bind to the receptor without the help of THC. So when you get a broad spectrum product, I'm not sure what you'll feel or do. It's an over processed product, and you've taken away one of its main ingredients, so it's useless. And unfortunately, that's what mostly you'll find in the pet market, because they like to perpetuate the fear that THC is dangerous to pets and especially to dogs, which it's not. That is completely false. They actually did a research study in 1973 called the Rosencrantz study, where they literally wanted to see how much THC would kill a person. And like most shitty research, can I curse?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good. Like most shitty pieces of research projects, they tested on animals. So they tested on rats, beagles, and chimpanzees, and they gave them 9,000 milligrams of THC.
Wow.
2 rats. I know. Can you even imagine? That's insane.
I don't want to.
I don't either. Nobody should have to go through that. But the point is, nobody died. No beagles died. No chimpanzees died. And it's because it's an all natural substance. Your body still knows what to do with it and goes, okay, let's get this out. Let's metabolize. Let's bring ourselves back to normal, which is literally what happened. The chimpanzees within a couple of months were like not even acting high anymore. But that's what's incredible. This fear is not real. It is not toxic to dogs. It is a very important medicine. And I have, at my rescue farm, practiced with THC since 2016, and I didn't have a single dog die. As a matter of fact, I would take dogs eating terrible kibble on 5 different prescription meds, still having the seizures. Their cancer's getting worse. Their quality of life is terrible. Detox them, take them off of all of that, feed them real food, give them hemp medicine, give them marijuana medicine, meaning more THC, give them these mushrooms, feed that gut, and bring a 14-year-old dog on death's door back to life in homeostasis. It can be done at any time. And that's what's so beautiful about the body when you give it natural things, real food and real medicine. It really can turn them around and bring them back to health. And I did it over and over and over and over again.
Right, absolutely, yeah. When you're just working on restoring balance and you're not just trying to target weird things or symptoms, it turns out that you can really, really help a lot of animals.
That's right. I know you guys know it. You guys know what I'm talking about. That's why I love talking to people making real food, because it's the same thing. You are real food and I am real medicine. And it's getting back to Mother Nature provides us with everything we need. All the food and medicine we need can be found in nature.
Yes, absolutely. The more people get involved, the worse it gets. Yes.
That's right.
It's our job to find the best, freshest ingredients and just get them into your pet's bowl in their safest form. Like that's what we're focused on.
Literally the same thing. How do I extract that? How do I grow it in the perfect conditions? How do I extract that medicine from the flower without damaging it? And how do I preserve it and make it easy to get it into the animal's body and make it bioavailable? So yeah, it's really not that hard when you come down to it. And is it a little bit more expensive than, how the other people do it? Yeah, but our intent is to literally help animals, live a healthy life and live in homeostasis. And their intent is to increase their profits.
Right. Absolutely. So let's reach the people at home who are watching this now. Let's talk about some of the different conditions or situations where CBD can really provide benefits.
So it's interacting with this system called the endocannabinoid system. that literally is in charge of all of our other systems. So that's why it seems like, how is it possible that this one plant can do all of these things? Well, that's why. I call it the queen of adaptogens. And what's beautiful about it is that what I love to do is take the cannabis plant, the hemp plant, the full spectrum hemp extract, and then add other adaptogens so that we can really target ailments. Some of your favorite anti-inflammatories like turmeric share some of the same compounds as cannabis does. Lavender for calming, same thing, share some of those same terpenes that they do. So that's why when you start putting them together and then add some mushrooms, there's really not an ailment you can't help. It's going to help everything from calming a dog in a stressful or anxiety-ridden situation like 4th of July, thunderstorms, going to the groomers, going to the vet, getting your nails cut. Now you don't have to give them these sedatives that are not good for them, that are going to wreck their gut. Their kidney and liver has to process and metabolize this synthetic chemical that it doesn't know what to do with. And instead of doing what it should be doing, which is detoxifying and healing. So there is a consequence to taking these drugs, and there is a major consequence of taking them on a regular basis. You literally take away the body's innate ability to heal itself. So anxiety, pain, incredible for pain.
Yes.
Pain works through 5 signaling pathways. Pharmaceutical drugs are only made to target one of those pathways. A full spectrum hemp extract interacts with all 5. Pain's going to go away. It's just a matter of how much you need. My Doberman with osteosarcoma, most aggressive, painful cancer that I know of that a dog can have. Given 4 months to live, I was offered chemotherapy, radiation, amputation, which doesn't extend life or do anything but speed up the death process. She was considered a geriatric Doberman because she's a large breed dog, but I gave her 10 milligrams of THC for over 2 years. It did not kill her. It kept her alive and pain-free. I didn't have to use a single pharmaceutical on my Doberman. So incredible for pain. I make salves. Literally, you could put it on your hands and it's absorbed through the skin and you can feel the pain go away. You put the tincture in your mouth, it's absorbed through the gums immediately. You can feel pain start to go away. No one has to be in pain and can totally treat pain naturally with cannabis and these adaptogens.
Yeah, and that's one of the main reasons I keep it in my cabinet is for pain relief. I'll use it instead of ibuprofen.
Yep, because ibuprofen will wreck your gut.
Right.
It will just kill your gut. I was just reading a piece of research about NSAIDs. I already know. I just saved one of Dr. Judy Morgan's horses because it was taking an NSAID every day for pain and literally was able to rebuild and give him so much hemp and get him off those NSAIDs, but almost killed him. And people don't realize. They think we can buy it over the counter. How hard can it be? And it will wreck your gut. It'll wreck your immune system because your immune system lives in your gut. So amazing for cancer. Like pain, cancer interacts with 12 different pathways. Cannabis has already been proven to interact with 8 of those pathways and in multiple ways, meaning stopping the progression, literally changing our cells into natural killer cells and going throughout our body and finding not only the cancer cells and killing them, but also any that are starting to change and kill them, and then remove it out of the body, remove all of those dead cells out of the body. The action of THC literally cuts off the vein that goes from a tumor to feed itself. It literally doesn't have a chance. You combine mushrooms and other herbs, and you literally are interacting with all 12 pathways of cancer. And the cancer doesn't have a chance, especially if you're feeding them a real food diet that's not feeding that cancer in any way. Literally all I know is cannabis, adaptogens. Like like probably 12 mushrooms and 12 adaptogens, and I was able to put cancer into remission several times on my rescue farm. And now, you know, however many years, how long have we been around now? 5 years later, we have over 100,000 people who are pet parents who are doing it, veterinarians that are using it and doing it. It's literally the missing piece, because nobody has been interacting with this system that we all have that interacts with cannabis and fungi and adaptogens. So that's why all of a sudden it seems like, why all of a sudden we've got this, it cures everything, it's a miracle. Well, it's not. It's not. It's Mother Nature doing what it's supposed to.
Right. It was always there, just waiting for us to rediscover it. I'm sure we knew about it years and years and years ago. But we've grown so out of touch with nature that we have to rediscover all of these things again.
I know. I know. Yeah. And it's like, you know, mushrooms share 30% of our DNA. They're not a plant or a mushroom, plant or an animal. They just got their own designation here recently, fungi. But to me, every time I learn more about them, we should be taking their medicine and eating them every single day.
I absolutely agree. I love mushrooms. Yes.
Yeah, it's incredible. And like pairing them with cannabis, it's just unbelievable, the things that you can accomplish. It's really amazing. And I love when people try it like yourself and try it and go, what? All I had to do was take this little oil from this flower.
Right.
So it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredible that it can make such a difference in pets' lives and our own. So what are some of the safety concerns, though, around, or let's focus specifically on hemp or on cannabis. So what are some of the safety concerns that people should be mindful of when they are sourcing their medicine?
Great question. Since it is not a regulated industry, anybody can put anything in a bottle, and there's nothing I hate more than someone, you know, going to go out and buy a hemp product thinking that it's going to help their old dog or their dog with cancer or seizures, and it doesn't have any medicine in it at all.
Right.
So there's something called a COA, a certificate of analysis. All the products that I make, of course, we test 4 times because I don't trust anybody. And I give it to all my dogs and all my family, and everybody takes my medicine. I made my own medicine. I have a full spectrum hemp extract with turmeric and frankincense, and that's literally what I take for my rheumatoid arthritis. I've had no progression of my disease. I also eat an anti-inflammatory diet most of the time. Do my best to do that.
Right. It's hard nowadays. Yeah.
I know, because everywhere we're surrounded by, I don't know if you've seen the new Food Inc. 2 has a 2 now documentary, and it showed that 96% of our beef, chicken, dairy, and eggs is factory farmed. Oh. So it's literally it's so hard to find and get real food anymore. But on all of our products, we test multiple times, but on all of our labels, I could get up and get one, but we have a QR code that you scan that takes you to that product's COA, certificate of analysis, from a third party. And on the bottom of every bottle is lasered a batch number and a date it was made. So you can look up the batch number and you can see the certificate of analysis for what's in that bottle. Right. If you can't easily get to a COA or certificate of analysis either on their website or their store, or you can't find it, move on. But now we've got people who are forging and, you know, whatever. But what that certificate analysis is showing you is a couple things. It's going to show you that your product is indeed a full spectrum hemp extract, meaning you'll see they come in so many different ways, graphs and charts and whatever, but you basically want to see that little bit blip, however it shows, of THC, so that you know you're getting a full spectrum hemp extract. What you also want to check is to make sure it's a pure product. So same thing with mushrooms, that it doesn't have any pesticides, herbicides, heavy metals, because both hemp and mushrooms are bioaccumulators. They suck everything out of the earth and air. So how and where they're grown is really important. Do not buy a mushroom product without a certificate of analysis showing you that it's a pure product. Most of them are coming from China. And the ones coming from China do not have a COA that they will show you. So that's all I ask you to do. And look at the reviews, you know, check out the reviews of the products so that you can see what other people are saying. We're literally have a campaign when we're trying to show as many success stories. Every time someone leaves us a review, we're like, hey, will you come on and tell your story kind of thing.
Right.
Because that's what you need to see. You need to see that people bought it. They bought it for anxiety. They bought it to stop seizures. They bought it because their old dog was in pain, and it worked. And it worked. It worked again. So I also, you know, look at the people behind the company. Who made it? I mean, to me, if you didn't get trained, how the hell did you know what to put in that bottle? You know, how'd you learn about it? It's kind of like someone making a food who knows nothing about what's biologically appropriate for a dog to eat. You're like, who is this person? Katherine Heigl doesn't know anything about making a dog food. Rachel Ray doesn't know anything about making a dog food.
Right.
So, you know, look at the people behind it to know that what is their intent? Do they know what they're doing? Do their products work? Those type of things. Because there literally is like only a handful of people making true full spectrum hemp extracts on the market right now.
Yeah, and I really like that we're differentiating between full spectrum and broad spectrum, because you find lots of broad spectrum, you find a few isolates, but that full spectrum is really what you want. That way you get the whole entourage effect. You get everything working together. And that is really what makes it. Again, I always call it CBD, but I'm really glad you pointed out as well that we're not talking about just CBD. We're talking about the entire thing. And we've all gotten in the habit of using that term to describe a whole bunch of different compounds coming together. But yeah, definitely I'm a huge believer that you need to go full spectrum as often as possible.
Yep, absolutely.
So do you have any other tips for choosing a good CBD versus a bad, if people maybe don't have access to yours, or if they just get things?
Yeah, make sure it's a full spectrum hemp extract. Make sure you can find that COA. Sometimes, like I know in Canada, for instance, you know, they have a dispensary. So you can go into a medical dispensary and literally ask for a 1-to-1 CBD to THC, you know, tincture type of thing. But yeah, those I think are the best tips to know how to use it and to release that fear, or how to choose a product, but to release that fear that you're going to give too much. You can't. Like, I think the biggest mistake people make is they're giving 2 drops when they should be giving 2 dropper fulls.
Absolutely.
So because they're still so scared of, you know, the brainwashing that has occurred for years and years by big pharma. I just want to give this little tidbit that I always like to share in my presentations. There was a research study done by Leafly. Leafly.com is a great resource. ProjectCBD.org is my very favorite resource, especially for you humans looking for a medicine. I make a human grade medicine, but literally ProjectCBD.org, you can type in any ailment. It will show you all the research that exists on the ailment. It also vets full spectrum. They only allow full spectrum hemp extracts sold on their website. Or actually, I don't think they sell. They just refer to brands. They vet them for you. So that's one of my favorite websites. I forgot what I was saying before I got off on that tangent.
Yeah, we were just talking about how to really identify what a good one is. But I love that you pulled out Project CBD. I haven't heard of them, haven't talked about, I mean, I have heard of them. I haven't talked about them in a couple of years. And so I'm going to have to go on and check and see how things have changed, because I probably went on that website maybe 6 or 7 years ago when I was working in pet stores trying to figure out, what is this stuff? How do I choose the right ones? Because there were people coming in every other day with a CBD product they wanted to sell us so we could sell to people. And
I
man, you
know.
got some really sketchy ones. Yeah.
I know. It's incredible. I love going into stores now, however many years later, and there's only like a couple scraggly bottles in the one brand, and I'm like, hey, and they already know who I am or our
Right.
brand is, and they're like, oh, we could have it at our store. I'm like, yeah, you sure can. But it's we never went through the big distributors, so it's always been like hand choosing or if someone called us type of thing. But because it's just it was too crazy. There was I remember going to Super Zoo when we launched in 2018, and I want to say there was maybe 40 40 companies that had anything to do with hemp seed, hemp, cannabis, anything. And that year, a company called Folium Biosciences had 150 sales reps there and walked around to every booth and said, you want your own white labeled CBD? You know, it's going to be the next $1 billion, 150. So 2019, there were over 250 brands. Wow. And people would ask me what I would do, and I'd be like, I was just like, what's happening? So yeah, we just went out there and started to educate. We went on a tour in 2019 that got cut short. We went out to California where we could find, you know, veterinarians that had been already using it and people who've already had success, and figured out what the laws were and what we were doing and how can we change them and all that. So it's been a long road, but what I love now is that you can't deny over 100,000 pet parents and veterinarians using it and having incredible success. Like literally old dogs they tried everything and nothing worked. And now they finally have, or breathing issues. Like I just started making products for my soul dog who, you know, I lost last year, got him to 16 and a half, but every ailment that came up or that he was diagnosed with, I just went and made the plant medicine and would watch it go away. Wow. You know, over and over and over again. So I'd just be like, people would be like, who'd you make Breathe for? I'm like, Odie. Who'd you make Clarity for? Odie. But it's fun. It's so amazing to use a product, make a product for my own dog, my own soul dog, watch and help him, and then have other people try it for their dogs that had some sort of breathing issue, like every one of those little smashed face cute dogs, and it worked on them, and it's the only thing that helped them. And I can explain it to you to a degree, but it's these actions of the compounds in these plants and mushrooms that are literally interacting with our individual cells. And like the act of taking the mushroom medicine or eating the mushrooms literally trains your cells to realize when they are, your dog has eaten a toxic mushroom or come across a toxic, a mycotoxin, or eaten something or smelled mold or whatever it is. The cells are literally trained to go, oop, that's a bad one. Let's get rid of that. It's amazing.
Yeah. These are things that belong in our life. And I think in our modern life, we've just forgotten. And these types of things have fallen away. And as we've, our diet has gotten smaller and smaller and more kind of generic across the country, we've forgotten about so many of these natural things that were once part of our lives and part of staying healthy. Now, I want to circle back to something you said, where you mentioned that people are often afraid of giving enough. They're afraid of giving too much, and so they don't give enough. I ran into this a lot when I was working directly with pet parents, and I'd recommend CBD for an issue that their dog is having. And I would sit there in kind of frustration watching them very, very slowly increase their doses and just keep coming back to me and saying, I'm not seeing results. And, you know, it took quite a while to get them to loosen up a bit and go for it a little bit, you know. So I'd love to know, what advice do you have for people who are thinking about trying CBD, and most importantly, for people who have already tried it, didn't see the results they were hoping for?
Yeah, release the fear. If you have confirmed that the product is a full spectrum hemp extract and you have a COA for what you're about to put in your mouth, Don't be afraid to use it. They cannot overdose. I already told you, look up it, Rosenkrantz study. They cannot overdose on it if it's a pure product. So release that fear. The only time that I got returns or we get returns is the dog is passed and the bottle didn't get there fast enough, or they return it and say it didn't work and you could tell that they didn't use it. So you got to understand that every dog is different. Every dog's endocannabinoid deficiencies are different. So what we have general research that shows us cancer, for instance, needs anywhere from 40 milligrams to 100 milligrams, depending on the cancer or a seizure. And it has nothing to do with how much they weigh. So everybody gets confused with that. It has to do with their deficiencies in their endocannabinoid system. So I had a 6-pound Chihuahua that I would have to give 100 milligrams of our heel every day to prevent a grand mal seizure. And she was normal now. She could walk around and be normal. I would give her mushrooms and I would watch her dementia reverse. It's these things I've watched over and over again. Not dead, not sick, thriving because they're getting this medicine that feeds this system. Fear. My favorite story about fear and anxiety, especially thunderstorms and fireworks. I used to live in Florida, in Tampa, which is the lightning capital of the world. All my dogs had fear of lightning because we were out on a sunny day and it literally struck 4 times in my yard. We went running in for our lives. But my 9-pound Schnauzer needed 2 full droppers, which is 24 milligrams of our Calm, which also has lavender essential oil, to calm down. And it took him 20 minutes. My Doberman, 60 pounds, would literally come and sit next to me and ask for it. And all I had to give her was a quarter of a dropper, which I believe is 3 to 4 milligrams on her gums. And she immediately calmed down. So it always works. You just have to find your dog's dose and what they need. So some dogs, it's funny, we have an extra strength Calm now and an extra strength Ease for dogs that need more support. And we have horse products. So dogs, in specific, we have research that shows that they have more receptors in their central nervous system and spinal cord. So that's what makes them more sensitive to THC. Right. Okay. But some of them still need a lot. You got to remember, the first time you get your endocannabinoids is when you're breastfed. So if someone was not breastfed or not breastfed for the appropriate amount of time, or puppy wasn't, they literally have an endocannabinoid deficiency at birth. Wow. So this is something that someone can have severe and someone can just be a little bit off and just need extra support, or you may not see, you may see that turn into something, but it helps everybody. I don't know anybody that it hasn't helped. I used it cases on my rescue over and over again. I met with the holistic vets at HVMA. I said, what do you want to know about it? And they go, we want to know how to use it. What are you using it for? And I'm like, I'll get to work, so it was like, I had veterinarians calling me going, all right, I got a case that was brought into us today. They want to put the dog down. I think you could do something with it. And I'm like, bring it on. Let's bring her over here. Let's detox her. Let's, get the chemicals out of her and feed her real food and see what we can do with these cannabis adaptogens and mushrooms. I keep saying that, but cannabis and mushrooms are adaptogens. But adaptogens are a group of mushrooms and plants and sometimes dirt and other things. Dr. PJ Broadfoot says she believes the thymus is an adaptogen when given to an animal, given to a dog. But an adaptogen is something that when we take them, and when we take multiple of them, this has already been proven in research, they become very powerful and synergistic, and they literally get into your body and adapt to the stressors and help heal whatever it is you are going through. So I can generally say these things help with this ailment, but if you have more issues than I do, it's going to help you just as much as it helps me. You may need more than I do, but they're literally meant for this reason. And that's why they're so magical and incredible and can do so many things.
So there are going to be so many questions that we get after this. There's obviously so much more to learn, and you've opened a door, a very large door that encompasses almost every pet out there or will at some point in their life. So where can people learn more about this, and where can they learn more from you?
You bet. I have a podcast myself called Your Natural Dog that's on all of the platforms. And I have a website, angelaardolino.com. You can find me on all the social media platforms. And the products that I formulated are cbddoghealth.com and mycodog.com. And you can find all of them. And all of our websites are packed full of education. You should literally be able to search anything and find, a product, research, an article, a success story, how to use it. So we really do. We've always led with education because nobody knows about it. Nobody knew about it. And very few people are making a true natural medicine.
Yeah. And I love that. We had to do the same thing with raw food 26 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to have other people here on the education side, just focusing on that piece of it. And I have checked out some of your resources myself. You guys do a really good job putting together research and information and making it accessible. So thank you for what you're doing out there. You're making this more accessible to everyone and helping to move the entire industry forward so that we can all live a little more comfortably, a little more healthy, hopefully a little more longer.
I know. And be happy and pain-free doing it.
Right. Absolutely. Live more comfortably. Yes.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Angela. It was a ball. I learned a ton today, and you've piqued my interest again back into the world of CBD. Like I said before, I'm already really into CBD. I use it for my pets. I use it for myself. But now I have to go out and do a whole new swath of learning around it. But I had a lot of fun talking with you, and I hope that you guys watching at home, you learned something. I hope you had fun. Don't forget to check out our free education course at learnaboutraw.com. It's designed to take you from curious about what foods are okay or what foods are good to confident that you're making really good choices for your pets. Plus, it's a fun course, and it's a quick way to become the pet food guru in your friends group or in your Facebook group. So you can check that out at learnaboutraw.com. Thank you so much, Angela. It was a ball talking with you. I hope that we get to talk about soon. I know I am hugely interested in mushrooms, especially for pets. And so I think we're probably going to have another conversation before too long.
I'd love to.
Well, that sounds absolutely terrific. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone watching at home. Go play with your dog, go pet your cat, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Brad.